Hey guys, I hope you're having a most excellent day and that you're doing something you love today. It's a beautiful day here in Unaka Springs, still freezing cold, snow everywhere on the ground outside. I did get the wood stove going for the first time this year, so that was an exciting moment for me. And I wanted to really quickly thank everyone who kind of poured out a bunch of support after yesterday's video. I wasn't upset. It was like a public service announcement more than anything. But thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys and all the heartfelt messages about my videos. I love it and love you guys for being here. Thank you. Today, I want to do a little how-to. Several of you have asked for this and several have asked how I do it. So I thought this would be a good little how-to video, and today I wanted to teach you how to make a glass marble. It's a fairly easy procedure. I'm certainly no expert at it. I'm just an amateur little glass maker with flame work. But it's something I think I can teach you to do, and I'm going to show you the materials that you have to have. There's some optional materials to do this, and then there's some materials that you're going to need, but that can be substituted with other materials. So with that said, it might be a long video. Let's jump right into it. Okay, the first thing that you're going to have to make glass is the glass itself. Now this is soft glass. It's a borosilicate glass, flame working glass. And you can order this online in every different color in the rainbow. And it's relatively cheap. It's not that expensive to get this stuff. And like I said, you can find any color in the world that you want. The second thing that you're going to have is going to be a source of heat to heat our glass. In this case, I'm just using propane, Coleman propane, with a little hothead here on the top. You can get this stuff in the camping section at your big box stores. And that's going to provide the heat we're going to need in order to melt this glass. The next mandatory item we're going to need to make glass is a way to cool our glass down. Now in my case, I have this fiber blanket here, and I can open up this fiber blanket, put a bead inside, and it will cool very slowly. Now that is the key. We want these beads to cool very slowly. Now there are some items that you can substitute this with. The favorite of which is vermiculite. If you take a flower pot and fill it with vermiculite, you can put your bead inside that vermiculite to cool. So there are some options if you can't find these fiber blankets. These are available online as well. If you look up flame working fiber cooling blanket, you'll be able to find these. Now on to some optional items. This is a marble marver. This is an item that allows you to quickly shape a piece of glass by heating it up and then pushing it into this mold, and it takes the shape of the marble. It kind of speeds up the process, and I won't use this today. Normally I would use this to make a marble, but today I will not use this so that I can show you how to make a marble with the minimum amount of equipment. Another thing that you are definitely going to want at some point is a pair of pliers and possibly a dental pick or something of that nature so that we can streak the glass, and I'll show you about that in just a few minutes. And the last optional item is these glassmakers glasses. And these are made of diadium glass or something like that. But it's a special glass that allows you to see what you're doing, and it eliminates the orange from the flame. And I'll show you that here in a few minutes once we get started. Show you the difference between looking at a piece of glass in this and out of this. So let's get started. We still got a long way to go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is start up our torch. Oh, safety first. I do need to mention that even if you do not have these diadium glasses, you should have on some sort of glasses. Whether it is a pair of clear protective glasses or safety glasses, you should definitely have on some sort of glasses, because oftentimes you stick a piece of cooler glass into the flame, it will explode. It can be just dangerous, and you don't want to have glass explode in your eye. Another safety thing we need to talk about is ventilation. You need to have adequate ventilation wherever you're doing this. I recommend doing it in a garage with the garage door open, or in a well ventilated area with a fan blowing air in, fresh air in. And that's the big thing, because we are going to be burning gas into the room. So make sure you got ventilation, make sure your eyes are protected, and don't burn yourself. Glass is hot. Alright, let's start. So, one thing that you keep in mind with this flame is the size of this flame can regulate how fast or how slow you are heating this glass. Now, when you first start to heat a piece of glass, which we'll do a blue marble today, we aren't going to do a very big one, but we're going to just do a quick demonstration one. Now, when you first start to heat the glass, you want to start outside of the flame and just slowly bring it up to temperature. And after the glass has been there for a minute, work it down a little further into the flame. Nice and slow. And that's a lot of glass making. Slow patience. So now that I know that this has started to heat up some, I can go ahead and crank up the heat, and we can get us a nice gather of glass at the tip of this rod of glass. So I'll let you take a quick look through these glasses and see what I'm seeing in there. And as you can see, it looks much different with these glasses on. It allows you to see what you're working with. Now, as this glass begins to heat, you will see it start to droop. And I'll put these glasses back on you for a minute. See how that glass is drooping? So we have to constantly be spinning this piece of glass and using gravity to keep it straight. Otherwise it's just going to drip way down and fall off like one of the Prince Rupert's drops. And we don't want that. It'll catch my house on fire. So what we're doing is I'm now angling the glass down. It's called elbow down. And as you can see, it's starting to gather into a nice marble shape on its own right there on the end from gravity. And the gravity's collapsing this rod down on itself, and it's starting to form a nice round shape. So I'm going to gather a big gather here. I'm trying to hold these glasses and the glass and look at everything, a little bit of a juggling act. I'm going to get a nice little gather, and then I'm going to go ahead and stripe some color into this equation. Okay, that's probably sufficient for our marble right now. Let's go ahead and put some color in. You might have to take off your glasses for a second. So to do this, I'm going to get a contrasting color, and we'll just use yellow because that's what I've got. I'm running out of glass, and we're going to go ahead and keep this piece of glass hot, and I'm going to slowly start to heat this glass and bring it in to the flame. Now that I've got this glass glowing and molten a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple wraps of color around it by spinning this blue rod and holding the yellow rod level. And so that's going to lay a little strip of yellow. Let's go right down the middle to begin. I'm just spinning this blue rod. Spinning, spinning. Try and get them to meet up. And there they are. You can see that's one little stripe around there. And now I'll add another little stripe. Maybe right here at the tip. So there's our second little stripe. And one last little stripe down here at the bottom. Okay, so there I have it. 3 little stripes on a gathered ball. Now I'm going to heat those stripes in and try and get them to melt into the gather. Once they get good and superheated, I'll try and put the glasses on you here for a second. See how those are melting in? You just have to keep spinning this blue rod the whole time. Now I'm going to take this little pick and I'm going to smear those stripes a little bit. Kind of mix up the color. Getting hot. Normally I'd be wanting to do that in the flame, but I want you to see how I'm stretching those colors out. Kind of like they do in the top of your hot chocolate at Starbucks there. They make a little heart in it or something. It's kind of the same theory here. I'm just kind of stretching some color out here. Once this cools a little, you'll be able to see. Let's let that cool a second and let you see those stripes come in. See how the color's starting to kind of stripe in there? So that's what we want, is just some sort of design element in the glass. Mix it up so it's not just a blue marble. Although I would like just a blue marble, I guess. You don't have to go one direction, you can go any which direction, but I'm going to call that good for the purpose of this marble. And now we're going to gather it back up again. I'll let you wear the glasses. We're trying to get back to that nice rounded kind of shape. So I've got an elbow down here. If you go back elbow up, you can stretch that shape out. And now I'll go back to elbow down and let it gather up again. There we go, we're starting to get a good gather on there. Elbow up again. Kind of even it out. Let gravity do all this work for you. I'm sorry I'm not holding the glasses very level. This is a juggling act and a half. Normally I tape them to the camera to do this for you, but I don't know why I didn't today. Now we're getting rounded up again. So now what we're going to do, once we get this nice and rounded up, we're going to take another piece of glass and I'm going to attach it to this side of the marble. And it's called punting up, or punty up. And when I do that, I'm going to create a temperature difference between this piece of glass and the piece of glass that I punty up to. And what I'm going to do is let this piece of glass cool and then heat up the other piece of glass until it is glowing, and then quickly touch it on to the marble. And it will stick, but it will create a connection that I can easily break off. And so we're going to want that at the end, because we're going to want a nice round marble. And I'm going to want to break this stick off in order to achieve that. So we'll see if I can achieve that right, you know. Okay, so I'm going to start to let this piece of glass cool some while I'm heating this piece up to glowing. You don't want this to cool too much though, or it'll crack. Keep it out here in the outside of the flame. So now, okay, so I'm going to punty up. Now in theory, there should be a good connection over there on this side. And I should be able to draw this side off and then round it down with the same procedure that we just did on the other side. Letting gravity do the work for me. In theory. I usually use the marble mold. But today I want to show you guys how you can do it with as few tools as possible. So hopefully I can pull it off. Alright, so now we got our little apple there. You always want to keep the whole piece hot. Not melting hot, but warm enough to where you don't have a fracture. Now I'm going to try and pull some of this excess off, because we don't need it. That's what you need these pliers for though. Try and get as much of that excess as I can off of there. Okay, that's getting a little closer. And I may even use my pliers to kind of smush this down a little. Try and start getting it closer to round. And we're just going to start working the tip of this. And using a shoulder or an elbow down. And trying to get it to melt in there to a nice round shape. And just remember, no marbles are perfect. No art's perfect. You're just having fun working with it, manipulating it. I really think glass is one of the coolest substances on Earth. It's a super cooled liquid. Or at least that's what they used to call it. I don't know if science has changed. Maybe. Go to elbow up for a second. And elbow down. That just helps all the molecules in the glass kind of spread evenly. Create a nice round shape for us. Now this is the tricky part because I'm elbow down, but I'm trying to heat the top of the glass, so it is pretty tricky. But it's getting there. We're just letting gravity do all this work. Elbow up. Elbow down. Well, it's getting close. It's not exactly perfect. And you can use something like the back of these pliers to try and help it along if you're not getting the shape you want. That kind of flattened her out a little bit. Now let's round it back. Just keep spinning the glass. Spinning, spinning. Sometimes slow, sometimes fast. Okay, well that's pretty close to a marble. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let it cool some just to where it starts to firm up. Just start to stop glowing, start to firm up a little bit. And I'm going to stick it in this fiber blanket here. In the middle. Press down. Take my pliers and tap this rod of glass. Now if I'm lucky, it broke straight off, which it did. And that's what you want. That's the purpose of a punty, is to break straight off like that. So now we let this cool slowly, and in the blanket it takes 30-40 minutes. In vermiculite it's usually 25-30 minutes. So we'll let that cool. We'll come back and check on it when it's done, and I'll show you how to do cold work finishing if you need to. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and open up our blanket and have a look at our marble. Well, it looks like it came out pretty good. It's got some nice little striping in there. I really like it. Not bad. Now, sometimes where you attached the sprue, which you can kind of see right there where I attached it, but this doesn't have a sharp edge, but occasionally there'll be a sharp edge there where the sprue was attached. And if you encounter that, get you some fine grit sandpaper and sand away at that spot until it's nice and smooth. But this one's plenty smooth for me, and it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Alright guys, well, I hope that you enjoyed the little how-to on how to make a glass marble, and I'm sure I'll make some more in the future. So if you guys have any questions about the process or where to get supplies, just put them below. I always try and answer direct questions. I can't get to every hello, hi comment, but I do try and answer direct questions. So leave a question below. Hope you have a great day in the life. Get out there and create something. Doesn't have to be glass. Just make something beautiful. See you tomorrow.